mom is a nine-tailed celestial fox. She gave birth to 2 furry balls and then me. She recognized the furry balls, but not me. She thought I was a weird, hairless freak, so she carried me out and dumped me, until she remembered she'd once slept with a 2-legged creature, so she rushed back to retrieve me overnight. My mom's life revolved around eating and sleeping. She slept with all kinds of males. If she got pregnant, she'd give birth but never raise the young. They were left to fend for themselves. This time, she had one with hands and feet, who could move and cry. Suddenly, she didn't know what to do. She poked and prodded me for a while, muttering to herself, "No claws, no teeth, not even a single hair." My mom tried tossing me into the air. She watched me plummet straight down, and quickly caught me, so I couldn't fly either. Luckily, I was her own flesh and blood. Though confused, she knew she couldn't let this little human survive alone. So she flew with me, sometimes carrying me in her mouth, sometimes balancing me on her head, taking me everywhere she went. Even when taking human form to indulge in the mortal realm, she'd still tuck me under her arm, until an old woman, trembling, pointed a shaky finger and asked her, "You, what is that under your arm?" My mom, gnawing on a roast chicken, answered with her mouth full, "It's a human. I gave birth to it." The old woman nearly fainted. That's when my mom realized, the little human wasn't crying because it was asleep. It was starving to death. Regarding the old woman's advice that a baby needs milk every 2 hours, my mom was utterly baffled. "Can't your daughter-in-law just feed it more at once? I eat once and I'm full for 60 years. The old woman gave my mom a long, deep look, then kicked her out. Before I was born, my mom's fox life was spent eating and sleeping. After I was born, she had one more task, begging for milk. In my mom's eyes, all beings are equal. So when it came to getting me milk, she wasn't picky about it being human milk. If she saw a female with milk, she'd grab me and go for it. Luckily, my mom is a 9-tailed celestial fox. Not many in this world dare refuse her. My mom carried me around, roamed and feasted across the 3 realms for a whole year. I grew from a toothless baby who only drank milk, into a little monster who could snatch food right from a fox's mouth. My front teeth hadn't even appeared yet, but all 4 of my canine teeth were already fully grown. Even more annoying was the strange bulge on my rear. When it first appeared, my mom squeezed it for ages. "This ugly thing can't be a tail, can it?" Later, the bulge burst open, and a tuft of fur poked out. My mom finally breathed a sigh of relief. Turns out it was a tail that was just stuck. Since I could already gnaw on ribs by myself, my mom figured I should also be able to hunt my own game. So she transformed into her celestial fox form, plopped me on top of her head, and dove deep into the old-growth forest. "Mom's taking you to an all-you-can-eat buffet." So my mom darted through the woods, while I was left dangling from the treetops. My mom chased after prey, gobbling down one bite after another. I got whipped by branches, munching on leaves, one mouthful after another. My mom was born with thick skin and a tough hide, so the word, falling to death, wasn't in her dictionary. By the time she realized I wasn't keeping up, I was already lying on my back in the grass. "Sweetie, you don't have an appetite? Why are you sleeping here?" Seeing I didn't respond after 3 calls, my mom simply plopped me back on her head, and shot up into the sky. Soaring through the clouds, she flew away. According to my mom's recollection, if a beautiful immortal hadn't stopped her back then, insisting her cub was about to die, she could have made it all the way to Jade's Spirit Mountain in one breath. And she wouldn't have missed that gluttonous feast. Every time my mom brings it up, her face is full of regret and indignation. I was only 3 years old at the time. Never having tasted a gluttonous feast, I didn't feel the loss. But every time this happens, my mom would kindly remind me, "That immortal ignored my protests, snatched you away, and pounded on your back like crazy. He literally pounded you until you threw up. He even jabbed his fingers hard into your ribs, making you wail and cry. It's all my fault for not being able to beat him. That annoying immortal was way too powerful." Hearing that I was beaten until I cried, I finally started to get angry. So I joined my mom in cursing that immortal. Seeing this, my mom nodded, and contentedly took me up the mountain to hunt for game. After eating and drinking our fill, the 2 of us squatted on the mountaintop, picking our teeth. Just then, a white cloud swept right past our eyes. Whoosh! It knocked me right over. I had just scrambled up and steadied myself, when my mom already had her hands on her hips, yelling, "Whose brat has no eyes? Driving your cloud so fast. Aren't you going to apologize for hitting someone?" Naturally, the culprit gave no response. In a fit of rage, my mom transformed and took off. The sound of a fox's cry rang out, and in the blink of an eye, Mother was gone. The desolate mountaintop was left with just me, disheveled in the wind. Looking in the direction my mom had disappeared, I let out a deep sigh. This wasn't the first time I'd been forgotten. I hoped this time Mother would remember me sooner, but alas, the sky turned dark, then light, then dark. I don't know how many times, and still, I didn't see my mom return. Instead, an immortal with flowing sleeves descended from the clouds. He rested his chin on his hand and looked at me for a while. Little girl, you're still alive. Such a beautiful immortal. This must be the fairy Mother talked about. When I saw him, that was my first thought. I was lying on the ground, trying to get up, but found I had no strength. Not easy. Fox clans don't make a habit of raising their young. It's a miracle you're still alive after following her. He seemed to have noticed something. He picked up my wrist and squeezed it repeatedly. You're practically starving to death. As he spoke, he turned his palm over, and a small jade vial appeared in it. Why is it that every time I see you, I have to save you? What kind of fate do I have with you, little girl? I had no mind for his rambling. I just grabbed his hand and gulped down several mouthfuls of the water from the vial. Tastes good. Not only does it quench thirst, it fills you up. This must be something special. I gulped it down in one go. There wasn't a hint of reluctance in his eyes. Instead, he smiled. This guy is even more generous than my mother. After drinking his water, my energy was fully restored. I immediately started gesturing wildly, describing to him how an immortal riding a cloud crashed into me, and how my mother gave chase. He hit you and just ran away? Yes, that's really bad. Exactly. I nodded emphatically, completely agreeing. Your mother hasn't returned. What are your plans? Garlic? I don't eat garlic. I mean, do you want to stay here and wait, or go down the mountain? I thought for a long time. Keep waiting, I might starve to death. If I don't wait, what if Mother comes back? As I thought about it, my eyes lit up. I tugged on his robe. You take me to find Mother. You're just a little girl. How am I supposed to take you with me? You could carry me in your mouth. I'm not your mother. Then I'll sit on your head. My head isn't that big. I took a good look at the immortal before me. Oh right, he's in human form. When my mom's in human form, she always tucks me under her arm. Then you can carry me, or tuck me under your arm. Finally, he bent down as if conceding, reached under my arms, and gently picked me up. I think being held like this is much more comfortable than being tucked under an arm. I instinctively leaned against his shoulder, happily kicking my legs. He laughed, and patted my back with one hand. What does this count as? You being lucky, or me being unlucky? Little girl, stop kicking. I only found out later, that the man carrying me around the world looking for my mother was actually the Zhouyuan Shinzuan from the Heavenly Palace. The Shinzuan lived a reclusive life, and few in the three realms had ever seen him. Some said he was tens of thousands of years old. Others said he was as old as the Heavenly Emperor himself. No one knew for sure. There weren't many rumors about Zhouyuan Shinzuan in heaven or on earth. Even the occasional piece of gossip was just about the Shinzuan going into seclusion recently, or the Shinzuan going to Jade Spirit Mountain to give a lecture, or the Shinzuan being invited to some Dharma assembly, and so on. Until today, when the Shinzuan personally heard a brand new piece of gossip. The Shinzuan's wife is missing. The Shinzuan is taking his daughter around the world looking for her mother, holding my favorite ribs. I gnawed on them until my face was greasy. I didn't care what the next table was saying. Zhouyuan rested his head on his hand, spinning his teacup with a long sigh. Hey, how about we stop looking for your mom? No, I'll find you a master. No, that mountain, your mother hasn't returned there. I pretended not to hear, and just kept on gnawing. Little girl, fox clans don't have the habit of raising their young. It's normal for her to leave you. You shouldn't be so fixated on this. My lips quivered, and I looked up and yelled, I want my mom. I want my mom now. Alright, we'll keep looking. Hearing this, I finally stopped yelling. Then I pointed at the empty plate on the table. I want more ribs too. The day the Divine Venerable One took me from the mountain, he had already bailed on an invitation from the Southern Sea. Later, because he couldn't find my mother for the longest time, he skipped several more Dharma assemblies. These past 2 years, he carried me, searching from the heavenly court above to the netherworld below, scanned the mirror of heaven, checked the book of life and death, but he simply couldn't find any trace of my mother. Oh, Zhouyuan, Zhou, even the wisest can have a moment of folly. What do you mean? With this earth-shattering search of yours, if she were out there, even a mayfly would have been found. Since there's been no news at all, she must be hiding in the mortal realm. Of course I understand that logic, but there are countless mortal worlds. I can't just take her to search each one. You really are getting old. You've completely forgotten about Goddess Yun Jin's heavenly origin wells. I rested my chin in my hands, watching the Divine Venerable One and Lord Qingfeng play chess, taking turns. I was thoroughly engrossed, but then the Divine Venerable One suddenly dropped his piece. You're not so scared of being pestered by Yun Jin, that you just don't dare think of her anymore, are you? Lord Qingfeng clapped his hands and laughed heartily. He gloated, now let's see if you'll beg her. Thanks for reminding me, I really had forgotten about those 3 wells. Divine Venerable, what 3 wells? I'm curious, it sounds like they might help find my mother. The Divine Venerable One drank tea and didn't answer. Lord Qingfeng then took me in his arms, and began to explain. Those are Goddess Yun Jin's heavenly origin wells. One reveals past and present lives. One reveals blood relatives. And the third one can reveal your destined one. What's a destined one? The one who will ride in on a big horse to marry you when you grow up. Qingfeng is getting more and more ridiculous. How old is she? Why tell her such things? I truly didn't understand Lord Qingfeng's words, so I could only press on. Can the destined one help me find my mother? Lord Qingfeng was taken aback. Then he burst out laughing. He nodded repeatedly. Yes, absolutely, yes. I saw the Divine Venerable One shoot him a glare. He picked me up and left. Divine Venerable? How much longer do we have to stand here waiting? The massive gate, several yards high, was shut tight. I was really getting impatient. I hugged his leg and started wailing. Don't worry, Goddess Yun Jin is magnanimous. She'll come open the gate soon. Right then, a voice suddenly came from the sky. So she's not your daughter after all. Then, the gate actually began to slowly open. Divine Lord Zhou, it's been over 1,000 years. I thought you were really that heartless, to bring your daughter to see me. Along with a woman's voice, a graceful figure drifted out, and landed in front of me. First, she gave the Divine Lord a sidelong glance. Then she crouched down before me. She gently tapped my nose with her finger. Where did this little one come from? How old are you, sister? I've been with my mother for 6 years now. Yun Jin chuckled, calling me sister. Little one, in terms of age, you should call me your ancestor. Hello, ancestor. I immediately greeted her obediently, but the Divine Lord suddenly reached out and covered my mouth. At the same time, a bolt of heavenly lightning struck Yun Jin, leaving her charred. What's going on? Why can't she handle a simple greeting? Yun Jin remained frozen in her struck by lightning pose. Black smoke continuously billowed from her mouth as she spoke. The Divine Lord shrugged, and explained helplessly, it's the law of heaven. My original form was a carp, but I long ago leaped through the dragon gate, and ascended to the dragon race. After all my cultivation to this day, besides the 9-tailed heavenly fox, who else could possibly outrank me like this? The Divine Lord nodded. I nodded too, though I had no idea what they were talking about. Yun Jin pointed a trembling finger at me. This little one is a heavenly fox? I quickly waved my hands in denial. Ancestor, I'm human. My mother is the heavenly fox. A series of crackling sounds erupted. Divine Yun Jin was struck into a dandelion puff. While Divine Yun Jin returned to her chamber to freshen up, the Divine Lord carried me to the Tianyuan well. Will this help us find mother? However, the Divine Lord was stumped by 3 identical wells. Which one was it again? Seeing the Divine Lord hesitate, I struggled anxiously out of his arms. Mother, which well are you in? I randomly lunged toward the middle well, peering inside to search. But the next moment, I stumbled backward. Why is there a huge tiger in the well? The Divine Lord steadied me, and laughed heartily. Our little girl was so fierce in her past life. Not bad, not bad. I pushed the Divine Lord away, and lunged toward another well, cautiously looking down. No tiger, and no mother either. I looked back at the Divine Lord, then back into the well. It was extremely strange. There were 2 Divine Lords, one outside, and one in the well. Just then, it suddenly dawned on me. I sprang to my feet, and pointed directly at the Divine Lord. I was a Divine Lord in my past life too, but as soon as I said it, Yunjin rushed over. She pressed me down to look into the well again. When the Divine Lord's reflection appeared once more, Yunjin collapsed to the ground, defeated. No wonder. This well can't show me my destined one. I thought it was because the Divine Lord transcended the 3 realms. Turns out, you just don't belong to me. At that moment, a gentle breeze flashed by. I was pressed against the well's edge again. When the figure in the well appeared, I looked back at the Divine Lord beside me. What's a destined one? The Divine Venerable One just stares at me without saying a word. Divine Venerable One, why is your face so dark? It's weird. Ever since we looked into the well at Immortal Yunjin's place, the Divine Venerable One hasn't smiled at me once. He always has a dark look on his face, lost in thought. Whenever I look at him, he rubs his temples. If I smile at him, he hits his own forehead, looking completely exasperated. Then it dawned on me, so the Divine Venerable One is furious. It's not like I'm jumping to conclusions. After all, a year ago when he was playing chess with Lord Qingfeng also hit his own forehead like that. I asked why. The Divine Venerable One just shook his head. He couldn't beat me. He was furious. So hitting your forehead means you're furious. But, Divine Venerable One, why are you angry? The Divine Venerable One glances at me, and lets out a deep sigh. I'm not angry. Then why are you like this? I mimic the Divine Venerable One, clenching my fist and hitting my forehead. It's nothing. I just don't feel much like living lately. Why don't you feel like living? Probably because I've lived too long. I'm bored. Oh. The Divine Venerable One is bored with life. But I didn't dwell on the Divine Venerable One's world-weary look for long. I didn't dwell on it for long. After all, I'm about to find my mother soon. That 3rd well at Immortal Yunjin's place is truly amazing. We could clearly see where my mother was. She really is living the high life in the mortal world, with a handsome man in her arms. It was incredibly carefree and delightful. I couldn't wait to go find him right away. But the Divine Venerable One said that once in the mortal world, the greater one's magical power, the more restricted it becomes. Even he is no exception. He can't use magic recklessly, otherwise, he'll suffer a backlash. We had to search on foot. There was no way to hurry it. After following the Divine Venerable One for many days, my legs were about to give out. I was furious. I put my hands on my hips and pointed at him. Fine, you can't fly us there on a cloud, but can't you at least carry me? No. I stomped my foot in anger. You used to carry me everywhere before, but ever since we looked into the Tianyuan well, I can't even touch the hem of his robe. I ran to grab his sleeve, but no matter if I sped up or slowed down, the distance between us always stayed the same. After trying 5 or 6 times like this, I gave up. I stopped and started pounding my own forehead. I was going crazy with anger. Seeing I wouldn't move, the Divine Venerable One also stopped. I advise you to stop pounding. Why? Your brain isn't fully developed yet. What if you pound yourself into an idiot? I don't want to become an idiot, but I was still completely furious. So, in my desperation, I had a flash of inspiration. I flopped down on the ground, and threatened him. If you don't carry me, I'm not moving. I don't know how much time passed. My eyelids grew heavy. I was almost asleep. A sigh sounded. Then a pair of large hands gently picked me up. I sank into that familiar warmth. It felt absolutely wonderful. It was clearly the Divine Lord's arms I was accustomed to sleeping in. I was so happy. I wanted to shout, I won. But sleepiness plunged me into darkness. If you don't want to raise her anymore, don't just abandon her. Please send her to Jade Spirit Mountain. Someone will take care of her. Thank you for making the trip, Immortal. But let me reiterate, I didn't casually abandon my daughter back then. I just got busy and forgot. In my drowsy state, I heard people talking, until I opened my eyes. The first thing I saw was my mother sleeping sprawled out beside me. I shouted, Mother. Then I crawled over to her on all fours. Mother, finally found you. Mother, I need to tell Divine Lord the good news. But where is Divine Lord? Divine Lord? You mean the immortal who brought you here? My mother sat up. She stretched with a big yawn. Yeah, where is he? He's gone. He seemed in a hurry to leave, so I didn't ask him to stay for a meal. I was a bit surprised. Why would Divine Lord leave? I never imagined Divine Lord would leave. When will he be back? I asked every day, but Divine Lord was just like Mother, leaving and forgetting to return. For a long time, I missed Divine Lord. I even wanted to go to the Heavenly Palace to find him, but I couldn't get my mother to take me, because she was obsessed with the mortal world, always searching for good food. As I ate, aside from growing up, I gradually forgot about those days. That person, centuries past, by Fox Clan lifespan standards. This was my first day of adulthood. I suddenly had a splitting headache. I held my head in my hands. It felt like something was trying to push its way out. My mom examined it carefully. It's fine. Just a couple of big bumps. What? But I didn't fall. Then you bumped into something. I didn't bump into anything either. Anyway, it's nothing serious. I'll put some herbal medicine on it. You'll be fine. My mom pulled out a bunch of green leaves from somewhere. She mashed them into a paste and pressed it onto my forehead. The pain made me jolt. It's fine. It promotes blood circulation and reduces swelling. The medicine will cure it. The next day, my forehead was even more swollen. That can't be. This herb works for everyone. Could it have expired? Until my teeth and nails grew sharper day by day, my mom suddenly slapped her thigh. A realization dawned on her. I get it now, my daughter. You're becoming a celestial fox. Becoming a celestial fox? I'm this sick, and I thought you hadn't inherited any fox traits at all. Turns out they were just hidden too deep. Don't worry, once your nine-tailed traits fully manifest, you'll be just like your mother, able to do anything, heaven and earth. So it's a fox. Even if it wasn't a fox, it wouldn't matter. Mom, before I become a celestial fox, can you get me some painkillers first? It really hurts. My mom went out for a bit. She soon came back with painkillers. My daughter, this is so strange. That doctor looks exactly like the immortal. What immortal? The divine lord you're looking for. What divine lord? The god who took care of you for 2 years. Even though he gave you a hard time when you first met, he was genuinely concerned about you later on, and he made me promise not to abandon you, to seek help at Yuling Mountain if anything happens. The god who raised me for 2 years. A faint, swaying figure lingers in my mind. I try hard to recall that face. Even though the memory is fragmented, I still feel like someone was holding me all along, until I fully transformed into a fox, and could freely change forms like my mother. The first thing I did was look for that doctor. I want to see the person I can't remember. What does he actually look like? Are you here to see the doctor or to get medicine? A young man behind the counter smiles kindly. Seeing this, I feel a bit disappointed. He's not that handsome. That face that's been haunting me. This is it. The young man is taken aback at first. Then he smiles. You're also here to admire Dr. Lu's peerless beauty, aren't you? Please take a number and wait in line. Xiao Wu, stop joking around. Another person's voice. I feel like I've heard it somewhere before. God, I call out instinctively. At this moment, the blurry figure in my mind gradually becomes clear. The fragmented face pieces together completely. I finally remember that person. It's you, God Zhou Yuan. Miss Hu, I told you. Our Dr. Lu is named Lu Xingzhou, not some god. Why won't you believe me? Alright. Lu Xingzhou it is. Where is he? As I head towards the backyard, Xiao Wu quickly comes over to stop me. Dr. Lu is out on a house call. He was picked up by the magistrate's sedan chair early this morning. The magistrate again? Is everyone in the magistrate's household so sickly? Why is it that every time I come looking for him these past couple of days, he's always at the magistrate's house? Does the magistrate's family really have that many patients? Ugh, it's because the magistrate's youngest daughter has taken a fancy to our Dr. Lu. That's why she keeps getting sick. Right. Xiao Wu's words were a moment of clarity. If you're sick, you can see the doctor. Xiao Wu, to be honest with you, I'm not here to catch up with Dr. Lu this time. I'm really not here to catch up with him. Then what are you here for? Are you sick? Or buying medicine? Xiao Wu looked me up and down. Miss Hu, your demeanor doesn't seem like someone who's ill. Does it have to be me who's sick? Can't my mother be sick? That's not possible. Your mother is even more robust than you are. Xiao Wu glanced sideways toward the door. My mother is there, sleeves rolled up, gambling with a crowd. Big. The cup was lifted. My mother won. In her excitement, she lifted the burly man next to her. Seeing this, I slapped Xiao Wu's shoulder. If that's not an illness, what is? What kind of normal mother lifts people for fun? Xiao Wu was speechless. He silently helped me register in the appointment book. I peeked over. In the symptoms column were 3 glaringly large characters. Mental illness. If I want to see Lu Xingzhou, I guess I really do have to make an appointment. The person I haven't seen for days actually showed up on his own today. Miss Hu, where's your mother? She went out to play, I said while pouring tea. He didn't even sit down, and turned to leave. Hey, Your Holiness. Wait, Miss Hu, my surname is Lu. I am not the Your Holiness you speak of. Yes, I misspoke. Dr. Lu, may I call you Dr. Lu? Lu Xingzhou frowned deeply. Since your mother is not here, we can reschedule the consultation. I could see he still intended to leave. I quickly said, I'm also unwell myself. Lu Xingzhou looked at me, looking skeptical. Really? I haven't been feeling well lately. I need Dr. Lu to take a look. Is that so? What's the trouble? Everything is troubling me. Miss Hu, please don't cause me any more trouble. What trouble? It's not like I won't pay the fee. Besides, you're a doctor. Would you really refuse to help someone in need? Lu Xingzhou couldn't out-argue me. He finally sat down. Hee, Dr. Lu, have some tea. I respectfully handed a cup of tea to Lu Xingzhou, but he didn't take it. Since you're unwell, let's start with checking your pulse. Oh no, if he finds out I'm faking it, won't he be angry with me? I felt a bit timid. Although he always says he's not the divine venerable, his imposing aura is no less than that of the divine venerable. I simply couldn't resist. I obediently placed my hand on the pulse pillow. Lu Xingzhou's fingers pressed around my wrist. I took the chance to frantically organize my thoughts. When he exposes my trick, should I stubbornly deny it, or honestly admit my mistake? As I was thinking, I stole a glance at Lu Xingzhou. To my surprise, he looked even more conflicted than I was. Dr. Lu, what's wrong? Miss Hu, just a moment. Lu Xingzhou turned around. He pulled out a medical book from his little case, and started flipping through it right in front of me. Hold on, aren't you supposed to be a miracle doctor? Why are you learning on the spot? My eyes darted around, and I suddenly felt confident. I felt a surge of confidence. Looking at him like this, he probably couldn't expose me. But then, after flipping through the book, his expression turned grave, and he delivered a fatal blow. Miss Hu, you're not human. I slammed the table and stood up. We're all decent people. Why the vulgar language? I pointed at Lu Xingzhou, filled with righteous indignation. Lu Xingzhou looked at me, calm as still water. Neither of us showed any sign of backing down, until a commotion erupted on the street. People were running around in panic. It's a fox. A real fox. My whole body jolted. How did they find out? I just took human form. How am I already exposed? When I looked back at Lu Xingzhou, he had already rushed to the door. I followed him, and saw the townsfolk in complete chaos on the street. Go check it out. There's a huge fox in the moat, bigger than this whole street. Don't go. Hide. Quickly. Fox demons eat people. Some went to see the spectacle. Others scrambled to hide. I smacked my forehead. That's gotta be my mom. Back in the day, she also revealed her true form in the human world, caused a huge uproar. After sobering up, I was filled with shame. I snuck away to Qingxiu under cover of night, and lived among foxes for 100 years. What's going on this time? I need to go check it out. Miss Hu, where are you going? I'm going to see my mother. Seeing Lu Xingzhou's confused look, I quickly corrected myself. I'm going to see my mother. She loves a good spectacle. It wouldn't be good if she got hurt by the fox spirits. I hurried towards the moat. I didn't expect Lu Xingzhou to follow me. I couldn't worry about that. From a distance, I saw my mother thrashing in the river, like it had fleas, churning the water into a muddy mess. Most of the nearby trees and crops were ruined, but my mother didn't care at all, letting out a loud belch, reeking of alcohol. I wanted to get closer, but Lu Xingzhou grabbed my arm. It's dangerous. Actually, celestial foxes are quite righteous. They don't hurt people easily. How do you know? My mother told me, even if the celestial fox means no harm, so what? It's such a colossal creature. Getting close is dangerous regardless. He blocked my way, not letting me get near. I had no choice but to shout, "Stop making a mess. Go back." I called out several times. My mother finally noticed me. I waved at her, telling her to leave, but she swayed her body and moved towards me, even trying to climb onto the bank. Oh no, let's go. Lu Xingzhou grabbed my arm, pulled me up, and we ran. I looked back at my mother. Seeing me being dragged away, she seemed to get angry. Suddenly, she soared into the air. It charged straight at us. I knew it was after Luk Xingzu, but Luk Xingzu didn't. In the heat of the moment, he actually pushed me down and covered me, trying to shield me with his own body. Stay back, I shouted. My mother acted like she didn't understand. She just picked Luk Xingzu up with her mouth and tossed him aside. Luk Xingzu was knocked out cold on the spot. Oh no, Mom, snap out of it. We're in the mortal world. Stop messing around. Hearing the words, mortal world, my mother's eyes seemed to clear up a bit. I seized the chance to reason with her. That cockroach you like might be watching you right now. My mother's eyes widened in shock. The giant fox head began looking around, Stop looking, you need to hide, and fast. But the colossal fox couldn't even fly anymore. It wriggled quickly into the moat and never resurfaced. At the Lu family clinic, Xiaowu was examining Luxingzu. Luckily, the fall wasn't serious. Take some medicine, get plenty of rest, and he'll be fine. I was leaning by Luxingzu's bedside, completely baffled. He's so fragile. Could he really not be the Divine Lord? Other than lacking an immortal aura, he's no different from the Divine Lord. Miss Hu, run! Luxingzu was unconscious, muttering things in his sleep from time to time, either telling me to be careful, or telling me to run. Looking at his pale face, I'm so ashamed. It's all because of me. He doesn't even blame me, and he still cares about me like this. He's such a good man. Right at that moment, a commotion suddenly erupted outside the door. I listened for a moment. It was the prefect's youngest daughter. Xiaowu was trying to politely stop her. Miss, Dr. Lu is not fit to see visitors right now. I hope you'll understand. Don't worry, Xiaowu. My lady is here to check on young Master Lu. She won't disturb his rest. Ah, don't go in. Xiaowu's voice was cut off. The door swung open. Young Master Lu. I was sitting by the bed, looking at this Miss Bai who was always sickly. Before I could even greet her, her maid beside her stared at me. You're the woman who provoked the fox demon. Young Master Lu got hurt by the fox demon, because he was saving you. I nodded. That's right. I'm already feeling guilty enough. Hearing this, Miss Bai seemed to sway a little on her feet. Don't get cocky. You think just because he saved you, he likes you, that he'll marry you? Wishful thinking. What nonsense. Why would he like me? I never asked him to like me, and I never asked him to marry me. You really don't want to marry young Master Lu? All this time, even though I've been pestering Lu Xingzhou every day, and he's all I can think about, I really haven't thought about that question. So, I shook my head honestly. Dr. Lu is awake. At that moment, Xiaowu looked pleasantly surprised. I quickly turned around. Dr. Lu, why is your face so dark? It was deathly pale just a moment ago. See them out. At Lu Xingzhou's command, Xiaowu unceremoniously kicked us all out. Miss Bai burst into tears on the spot. She covered her face and left. Her maid was grumbling and cursing. Before I left, I called out inside, Dr. Lu, I'll come see you again tomorrow. Then I was turned away for 3 days straight. My mother offered some advice. Men, you know, most of the time need to be coaxed. Next time you go see him, don't go empty-handed. Bring something he likes. If he's happy, forget about just meeting. A kiss wouldn't be out of the question. I nodded. I wanted to ask for more advice, but my mother just waved her hand. Figure it out yourself. Your mother is going to hear Meng Lang sing opera, isn't it, Zhang Lang? Zhang Lang is scheduled for tomorrow. I cupped my hands respectfully. I've learned my lesson. I asked Xiaowu for information. I found out Lu Xingzhou has always wanted to dig for wild ginseng on Jianfeng Mountain, but the mountain is steep and hard to climb. Miss Hu, if you have feelings for Dr. Lu, you'd better hurry up. What do you mean? The prefect seems unable to resist that young lady. A couple of days ago, he even disregarded social status, and sent someone to ask for Dr. Lu's birth details. So you're saying, that Miss Bai is going to marry Dr. Lu? Xiaowu stomped his foot anxiously. No, if the prefect really proposes, Dr. Lu will definitely refuse. I'm just afraid he'll offend the prefect, and his life will be miserable. Are you sure Dr. Lu will refuse? Of course. I've been with him for years, and I've never seen him show interest in any woman, except the first time he saw you. He just stared blankly, like a lovesick teenager, but you kept calling him Divine Lord this, Divine Lord that, and completely crushed that little spark. Sword Peak Mountain towers into the clouds, like a sharp blade piercing the sky. The old me might have struggled to climb it, but now I've taken human form. Wait, why am I having trouble moving after transforming? My limbs are like untamed beasts, each with a mind of its own. I struggled for a long time to no avail. I couldn't even change back to human form, perhaps because this mountain is too steep and dangerous. I, a fox, got stuck here for a full day and night, and no one even noticed. Slowly, my human consciousness began to fade. I almost forgot I was once human. Just as I tried to bite a passing wild rabbit, I heard Lu Xingzhou calling from afar. Miss Hu. My human consciousness flickered back for a moment, afraid he'd see me like this. In a moment of panic, with a poof, I turned back into human form. Then my head spun, and I passed out. I'm here, I shouted back. I couldn't hold on any longer, and collapsed to the ground. Only then did I realize, this mountain is definitely strange. It feels like some force is pulling at me. The celestial fox traits within me are going wild. I can barely keep them suppressed. Miss Hu, Lu Xingzhou crawled toward me, his face covered in mud. His movements were frantic, his expression tense. He'd lost all his usual composure. I smiled at him, and greeted him. His eyes instantly reddened. "Don't be afraid, Miss Hu. I'm here." Lu Xingzhou helped me up. I was weak and powerless. I could only lean against his chest. "It's all my fault. I shouldn't have shut you out. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come to a place like this," he said while checking me over. When he gently pulled back my sleeve, my heart sank. White fur. I've been trying so hard to maintain my human form. How can there still be so much white down? I've heard from my elders. This mountain forces non-humans to reveal their true forms, and disrupts their energy. But don't worry, you'll heal once you get far enough away. Miss Hu, don't be afraid. I'll just take you down. Dr. Lu, aren't you afraid? Afraid of what? You're not human. Your pulse told me that long ago. Lu Xingzhou chuckled. He bent down and carried me on his back. Thinking back to when I first met you, I always felt, a girl so beautiful and lively, couldn't possibly belong to this mortal world. Beautiful and lively. I looked at my arm covered in down and touched the tail behind me. Suddenly, I was overwhelmed with sorrow. But I look so ugly now. No, you don't. I've never seen another demon, but one like you, must be the most beautiful. I burst out laughing, then quickly held it back. I almost lost control and transformed back into a fox. We finally made it down the mountain. We rested under a big tree, looking at Dr. Lu, his face dirty, clothes disheveled. I couldn't help but sigh. What a shame. If only I had found that wild ginseng. It's fine. I have plenty of wild ginseng at my shop. So Xiao Wu told him I wanted to give him ginseng too. That's different. My mother said, if I give you a gift, and you're happy, not only will you meet with me, you'd even kiss me. Dr. Lu, why is your face so red? Miss Hu, don't talk nonsense. Isn't that right? If I gave you wild ginseng, would you kiss me? Lu Xingzhou covered my mouth. My strength hadn't returned yet, so I had to stay quiet. You don't need to give me anything. He looked at me, his hand leaving my mouth, only to cover my eyes instead. In the darkness, I felt him draw near. Then my lips met a softness. He smelled so good. I was lost in it. When my mother learned I was marrying Lu Xingzhou, she looked utterly confused. Marrying someone like that? Then you'll only be able to kiss him? Yes. What if you meet a better-looking male? What if you like 3 males at the same time? I thought about it. I realized I could never like any man, other than Lu Xingzhou. Mom, he's the only one for me. My mom looked at me like I was an idiot. On our wedding day, Lu Xingzhou arrived on a tall white horse. Dressed in red, he looked absolutely dashing. The crowd cheered wildly, hiding my face behind a fan. I excitedly stepped into the bridal sedan. Life is short, but it's okay. I'll spend it all with him. My mom once said to me with disdain, a mortal's lifespan is just a blink of an eye for you. For that brief moment, you'll spend the rest of your long life in mourning. It's a losing deal. Back then, under my red veil, sitting in the swaying sedan, my heart was full of Lu Xingzhou in his red robes. I just thought my mom was being vulgar. It wasn't until later that I understood. Even though my mom is unreliable, she's lived a long time. She's seen more life and death than I've eaten grains of rice. She was right. It is a losing deal, but I'm happy with it. Life after the wedding wasn't quite what I imagined. I imagined a loving wife by his side, a harmonious marriage. The reality was, I almost burned down the Lu family kitchen. Niana, put down that cleaver. When Lu Xingzhou rushed in, I was staring helplessly at a flopping carp. Given my slight acquaintance with the goddess Yunjin, I couldn't bring myself to just swallow her kin whole. So I decided to cook it the mortal way. But I'm too strong. With one chop, the cutting board split, a corner of the stove collapsed. The fish got scared, and with a flick of its tail, it landed on the roof beam. Lu Xingzhou surveyed the mess in the room, then looked at me, still holding the broken knife. With an innocent look on my face, he sighed helplessly. He came over and wiped the flour off my face. If you wanted fish, my lady, you could have just sent Xiao Wu to buy some ready-made. No need to dismantle the house yourself. I felt a bit wronged. Aunt Wang next door said, to capture a man's heart, you must first capture his stomach. I wanted to make soup for you. Lu Xingzhou was taken aback for a moment. Then, a glimmer of amusement sparkled in his eyes. He took my hand, carefully checking for any injuries. He said gently, you've already captured my stomach. No soup needed, as long as you're here. Its content. My face flushed. I thought this mortal physician was better with sweet talk than the characters in romance novels. After that, I stopped trying to cook. Instead, I went to help him at the clinic. Lu Xingzhou was a renowned miracle doctor. Patients came seeking treatment non-stop every day. He was extremely focused when diagnosing, his slender fingers resting on a patient's pulse, his expression calm and compassionate. I would sit nearby, helping him grind ink and prepare medicine. With my Fox Clan nose, my sense of smell is sharp. This batch of herbs got damp. Can't use it. I'll pick out the moldy ones. This man has an aura of death about him. Lu Xingzhou, you can't save him. I'd lean in and whisper in his ear. Lu Xingzhou would always give me a gentle look, then go back to writing his prescriptions. Do our best, and leave the rest to fate. Nyener, a healer cultivates not just skill, but also heart. I don't understand all this heart business. I just know he's exhausted. Mortal bodies are too fragile. Whenever the flu ran rampant, he'd go days without sleep. Dark circles would appear under his eyes, and his face would turn pale. Back then, I really wanted to give him a breath of my fox spirit energy, or just go steal a peaches of immortality from the heavens for him to eat. But he strictly forbade me from using magic. Nyener, since we've entered the mortal realm, we follow its rules. Birth, aging, sickness, death. They're the natural order. You can't force things. The days passed like this, one after another. In spring, we'd go for outings in the countryside. I'd transform back to my true form and hide in the clouds. He'd watch me tumbling about from the mountaintop. In summer, I'd lounge in the courtyard to escape the heat. He'd fan me while reading medical texts. In autumn, we'd sweep the fallen leaves. In winter, we'd sit around the stove brewing tea. I thought this would last forever. The change came in the 10th year of our marriage. That morning, I was helping him tie up his hair as usual. In the bronze mirror, our two faces were side by side. I still looked like a girl of 16, skin smooth as jade, every glance and gesture full of life. But when I picked up the wooden comb, and ran it through his hair at the temples, my hands suddenly froze. A single white hair, amidst the jet black strands. That silver strand stood out so starkly, like a needle, jabbing right into my eye. What's wrong? Lu Xingzhou noticed my odd behavior. He looked at me through the bronze mirror. I fumbled, trying to hide that white hair, or pluck it out, but I didn't dare. I was afraid if I plucked one, more would grow in its place. It's nothing, just a tangle, I lied, but my voice trembled. Lu Xingzhou was far too clever. He turned around, took my hand, and plucked that fallen white hair from my fingers. He looked at the silver strand, his expression calm, as if he'd long expected this day. Nyener, I'm getting old, he said with a faint smile, his tone as casual as if commenting on the weather. You're not old. I threw my arms around his waist, burying my face in his chest. Tears welled up instantly. You're only in your 30s, the prime of a mortal's life. You're not old at all. Lu Xingzhou gently stroked my hair. He sighed. A mortal's 30s are not the same as a celestial fox's 30s. Nyener, you will remain forever young, but I will slowly age. I'll get wrinkles. My teeth will loosen. My steps will grow unsteady. I won't allow it. I looked up, glaring at him fiercely. I have a way. I'll go find my mother. I'll go find Yin Jin. I'll go find the immortals in the heavens. I will find a way to make you immortal. Nyener, his tone grew more serious. His expression turned stern. You promised me, you wouldn't use your divine power to interfere with my fate. But, no buts, if I cling to life using your magic, and become an ageless, deathless monster, then I would no longer be Lu Xingzhou, and I would no longer deserve to be your husband. He cupped my face in his hands. His fingertips were warm. In this lifetime, to have you as my wife, is already a blessing I stole from the heavens. What I want is to accompany you, through a complete mortal life, including aging, including death. I couldn't win the argument. I never could win against him. From that day on, I began to despise the passage of time. I hated the rising and setting of the sun, because every time the sun set, it meant his life was one day shorter. I hated the changing of the seasons, because with every year that passed, another wrinkle would form at the corner of his eye. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Lu Xingzhou had become an old man. His back was no longer straight. He needed a cane to walk. He needed reading glasses to see. And I'm still that girl in the red dress, as radiant and captivating as ever. Rumors started spreading around town. Some said I was a fox spirit in disguise, sucking the life force out of Dr. Lu to preserve my youth. Others claimed I was a celestial fairy from the heavens, and that Dr. Lu must have accumulated 8 lifetimes of virtue to marry me. When we went out, People on the street would look at us with strange eyes, as if we were a grandfather and his granddaughter, not a married couple. I didn't care. I held on to his withered arm, and walked with my head held high. Old man Lu, what would you like to eat today? Still just plain congee and simple dishes? I teased him on purpose. Lu Xingzhou smiled, his face crinkling with wrinkles, his voice a bit hoarse. Whatever you say, my lady. But I knew, his heart was bitter. One night, I got up to get some water, and found he wasn't in bed. I went to the study, and saw him staring blankly at the bronze mirror. In the moonlight, his aged face looked especially desolate. His hands trembled as he touched his sagging skin, his eyes filled with self-loathing and pain. My heart felt as if it were being torn apart. He was such a proud man. In his youth, he was dashing in red, riding spirited horses, with an extraordinary aura. Yet now, before my very eyes, he had aged into a withered old tree. I hugged him from behind, pressing my face against his hunched back. Xingzhou, no matter what you become, in my eyes, you'll always be that Lu Xingzhou who came to marry me on a white horse. His body stiffened. Then he turned and hugged me back. His strength had diminished. His embrace was no longer as broad and warm as before. Instead, it carried the musty scent unique to the elderly. But I held on tighter. Nienna. His voice choked up. I'm sorry, for trapping you by the side of this old wreck. I want to be, I said through tears. I just happen to like old wrecks. The year Lu Xingzhou turned 76. He fell ill. It wasn't anything sudden. He was just old. His life force was fading. Xiao Wu was old now too. He'd become the clinic's manager. His grandson took over his duties, attending to Lu Xingzhou by his bedside. I dismissed everyone else. Day and night, I kept vigil by his bed. I watched the flame of his life grow fainter and fainter, like a candle flickering in the wind, ready to go out at any moment. Nienna, he called for me. I'm here. I took his hand. His hand was skin and bones, icy cold to the touch. After I'm gone, go back to the fox tribe. He struggled to breathe, each word seeming to be squeezed from his chest. Forget me. Go find A. As long as your life has been, live a good life. I won't forget. I can't forget. I cried like a child. Lu Xingzhou, you bastard, you're the one who got me involved. Now you want to die and be done with it, and have me forget you? In your dreams, I'm going to carve you into my mind. Remember you for 10,000 years. He smiled, a somewhat helpless smile, yet also somewhat content. Alright, it's fine if you remember. It proves that I was here. His gaze began to grow distant. His eyes seemed to look right through me, towards some point in the void. Actually, I never told you. His voice grew softer and softer. I had to press my ear to his lips to hear. What? The first time I saw you, I felt like we had known each other for a very, very long time. My tears fell on his face. Silly, of course we've known each other for a long time. Nienna, don't cry. Next life, if there is a next life, I promise, I'll find you sooner. I won't let you. Wait, his voice trailed off. The hand holding mine went limp and fell. In that instant, the whole world seemed to stand still. The cicadas outside the window fell silent. The wind stopped. Even my own heartbeat seemed to stop. Xingzhou, I called his name softly. No one answered. Lu Xingzhou, I nudged him. He didn't move. Old man Lu, stop pretending to be asleep. It's time to get up and take your medicine. I shouted at the top of my lungs, but my voice turned shrill and broken. Still, there was only dead silence. A massive wave of panic overwhelmed me. My hand trembling, I reached out to check his breathing. It was gone. Was gone. Who would do anything for me? My eyebrows. Who would carry me down the mountain? Was gone. Gone. A piercing fox's cry erupted from my throat, shattering the roof, soaring into the sky. That night, the capital was battered by fierce winds, and rain poured down. The common folk all said, the fox spirit is angry. They didn't know. It was a fox who had lost its mate, crying in despair. Ignoring Xiao Wu's attempts to stop me, I revealed my true form. I wrapped Luk Xingzu's body tightly in my massive nine-tailed fox form. I wanted to warm him with my body heat. I wanted to share my lifespan with him. I wanted to beg all the gods and Buddhas to give him back to me. But it was useless. His body grew colder and stiffer. My mother arrived. She looked at the wrecked room and me, nearly driven mad. For the first time, she didn't scold me, nor did she give me that look she reserves for fools. She sighed, and gently stroked my huge fox head. Sweetie, let go, he's gone. No, I snarled, my claws digging deep into the ground. Mom, please save him. You're the nine-tailed celestial fox. You must have a way, even if it means turning him into a ghost cultivator, or a demon. As long as he lives, I'll do anything. He was immortal. He passed away peacefully. His soul has returned to the underworld. That is the way of heaven. My mother's voice was heavy with emotion. If you forcibly keep his body, you'll only disturb his soul. He won't be able to reincarnate. Reincarnation. I murmured to myself, if he reincarnates, he'll forget all about me, won't he? After drinking the mangpa soup, all past memories are erased. I won't let him forget. I cried until I was utterly exhausted. Finally, I transformed back into human form, and collapsed weakly by Lu Xingzhou's bedside. I looked at his peaceful, sleeping face. It was as if he was just asleep. I remembered our wedding day. He said, "Niana, life is short, but I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe." He kept his promise. With his mortal lifetime, he gave me a magnificent, beautiful dream. Now the dream is over. I'm the only one left to endure this long, long life ahead. Through endless years, I'll chew on these memories over and over, in unbearable agony. On the day Lu Xingzhou was buried, I didn't go. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to stop myself from opening the coffin and taking him away. I sat in the clinic for 3 days and 3 nights, until Xiao Wu walked in holding a box. "Madam, this is what Master left for you before he passed." Xiao Wu's eyes were swollen like walnuts. I opened the box. Inside was a thick stack of paintings. The first one was of our first meeting at Jianfeng Mountain. I was covered in fur, a complete mess, yet he painted it beautifully, inscribed beside it, "Goddess descends to earth." The second was me frying fish in the kitchen, my face covered in flour. He inscribed, "Washing hands to make soup." The third was me napping in the courtyard. The fourth was me tying his hair. And finally, the last one showed a white-haired old man, holding a girl in red's hand, walking under the sunset. The inscription read, "From dawn to dusk, till hair turns white, fortunate to stay by your side." The handwriting was shaky and smudged, clearly drawn during his severe illness. I held those paintings, crying my heart out. So in his eyes, every single day of ours was a treasure worth recording. After Lu Xingzhou left, I departed the capital. I returned to the mountain where we first met, and settled in that cave. My mother urged me to return to Qingqiu. I refused. I said his presence lingered here. I began to live like a true mortal, working at sunrise, resting at sunset. I learned to cook, though no one praised my food anymore. I learned to tie my own hair, though no one placed hairpins for me anymore. I often talked to the air. "Old Lu, the sunset is beautiful today. Did you see it? Old Lu, I've brewed peach blossom wine again. It's a shame you can't have any." The only things that answer me are the mountain breeze and the lonely echo. Half a year has passed. Seasons have changed in the mortal world, and grass has grown over Lu Xingzhou's grave. I thought time would fade all things away, but longing is like wine. It grows stronger with age. Whenever night falls and all is quiet, that bone-deep loneliness consumes me. Now I finally understand why the Divine Venerable said he was tired of living without someone who understands you and stays by your side. Living too long is just being a walking corpse, a prolonged punishment. If this is the price of immortality, then I'd rather have never taken form. Lying on the hillside, watching the clouds drift by, I think of Lu Xingzhou. Have you been reincarnated? Where are you now? Have you already married another girl, and are living a happy life? Just the thought of that possibility makes my heart hurt so much I can't breathe. Lu Xingzhou, I close my eyes, and a tear slips from the corner of my eye. I miss you so much. A day in heaven is a year on earth. My husband was buried in the morning, and returned in the afternoon. I hadn't even dried my morning tears. Xingzhou, Niana, it's really him. I was overjoyed. I threw myself into his arms. Lu Xingzhou, you scared me to death. I thought I'd never see you again. Niana, I'm back. We'll never be apart again. We held each other tight, kissing passionately. A few awkward coughs interrupted us. I looked at the newcomers. One was a tall, handsome man. The other, a stunningly beautiful woman. I scratched my head. They looked familiar, but I couldn't remember where I'd seen them. Zhou Yuan, sorry about that. We were just too curious, so we followed you. Didn't mean to spy. Hearing that name, my eyes went wide. I looked at Lu Xingzhou. Zhou Yuan, he called you Zhou Yuan. You're Divine Venerable Zhou Yuan, right? Yes. Then why did you deny it when I called you Divine Venerable Zhou Yuan? Niana, it's a long story, but back then, I really was just Lu Xingzhou. I saw the caution in his eyes, as if he was afraid I'd be angry. Just like all these years of marriage, he never wanted to see me frown, always patiently comforting me. A man like that, how could I bear to make him worry? I'm not angry. You can be called anything, no matter what your name is. You're still my man. Don't be sad, my child. Your mother has found you some quite decent men. They're not much worse than your late husband. My mother's voice suddenly cut off. The moment she saw Zhou Yuan, she blinked several times before she dared to recognize him. Son-in-law, weren't you already buried? Mother-in-law, I'm back. There's no need for you to find new men for Nianer. Zhou Yuan's words were faintly gritted through his teeth. He never liked my mother's views on romance, afraid I'd be influenced by her. Towards my mother, he's always been very guarded. My mother waved her hand, completely indifferent. Fine, have it your way. She turned to leave, only then noticing others in the courtyard. Oh, there's a beauty here. She looks somewhat familiar. The beauty hurriedly knelt and kowtowed, saying, this humble one is Simon. Greetings, Lady Tianhu. But my mother turned to the man, and asked, you must be Lord Qingfeng from Jade Spirit Mountain, right? I saw you once at the gluttony feast. The man bowed in greeting, then respectfully replied, to answer Lady Tianhu, it is indeed I. My mother clicked her tongue, and said with some regret, such a wonderful feast, held only once every 800 years. It's really a shame. Since Lady Tianhu has mentioned it, I shall issue the order immediately. This year's gluttony feast will be arranged as soon as possible. My mom was so thrilled. She almost adopted Feng Jun as her godson on the spot. As she was leaving, my mom helped Simon up, patted her shoulder, and said, I remember you now, little Simon. You've been doing pretty well up in the heavens these years. Huh? Simon replied humbly, it's all thanks to Lord Tianhu's protection. Of course, my mom said with a wave. Then, accompanied by a crowd of handsome men, she left in a grand procession. I didn't know how long it would be before she remembered me again after this departure. I hurried after her and shouted, Mom, Lu Xingzhou is Zhou Yuan Shenzhuan. You weren't mistaken. I know. After seeing off my mom, that formidable presence, the courtyard finally settled into peace. I turned to look at the tall, elegant man behind me. I threw myself into his arms. It still feels the same, just not cold anymore, and no longer frail. I'd recognize you even if you were turned to ashes. But Zhou Yuan, now that you've regained your godhood, are we still going to live our simple mortal life? Zhou Yuan wrapped his arm around my waist, and gently tapped the tip of my nose. Of course we'll live our mortal life, but before that, there's one important matter to attend to. What matter? He looked up toward the highest heavens, his gaze intense. When I married you in the mortal realm, even with the red bridal gown and white horse, it was limited by a mortal's means. I feel I shortchanged you. Now that I have returned to my divine status, I shall proclaim it to all realms, and give you a true grand wedding procession that stretches for miles. Qingfeng Jun chimed in, fanning himself. Shenzhuan, this isn't an announcement to the realms. This is you emptying the celestial treasury. Ever since you decided on this grand wedding, even the celestial emperor has had to tighten his belt. I was speechless. I have to say, the efficiency of us immortals is truly high. The wedding of Shenzhuan Zhou Yuan was indeed unprecedented, and never to be repeated. It's said that for this wedding, 90% of the celestial auspicious clouds were requisitioned. For several days, many places in the mortal realm couldn't see a decent cloud in the sky. On the wedding day, 99 phoenixes led the procession. Behind them, 81 Qilin carried the betrothal gifts. The procession stretched from the southern heavenly gate all the way to the shores of the eastern sea. My mother was finally satisfied this time. Dressed in a dazzling golden gown, she sat in the seat of honor. While munching on a 10,000-year-old peach of immortality, she said to the celestial emperor who came to toast her, this son-in-law isn't bad, a bit better than the ones I had back in my day. This extravagance barely matches my daughter's worth. The celestial emperor wiped his cold sweat, nodding repeatedly in agreement. I wore a wedding dress made of flowing light brocade, which the weaving maiden had worked on for 49 days. I wore a phoenix crown and held a bridal fan. Under the envious gazes of the celestial maidens, I walked step by step toward the man standing amidst the clouds. Today, he was no longer in plain robes. Instead, he wore the black wedding attire symbolizing the status of a Shenzhuan. Intricate dragon patterns were embroidered on it with golden thread, exuding supreme nobility. The moment his hand took mine, I heard bells ring out in unison across all realms. Nianer, he whispered in my ear, his voice piercing the clouds, echoing through heaven and earth. This union is not merely a marriage between two families, but an eternal vow. From the highest heavens to the deepest underworld, my spirit will be with you, undying and unending, never to part or abandon. My eyes grew hot. I remembered the decades of life and death separations in the mortal realm, remembered his helplessness when his hair turned white. Now, all of that was finally over. All right. I gripped his hand tightly in return. If you dare die on me again this time, I'll tear down this heavenly palace. Zhou Yuan laughed heartily, and swept me up into his arms. We departed through a shower of blossoms as we rode the clouds away. After the wedding, we didn't stay in the cold, imposing purple palace. Zhou Yuan knew my wild spirit, couldn't stand all the rigid rules of the heavenly court. He also knew I missed those days filled with the warmth of mortal life. So, he waved his hand grandly, and transplanted our little cottage from the mortal realm, foundation, soil and all, directly to a blessed grotto on Jade Spirit Mountain. The spiritual energy here is abundant, and it's spring all year round. It has the scenery of the mortal world, yet the serene tranquility of an immortal's abode. Everything in the courtyard was just as it had been. That grapevine trellis was still there, with his favorite lounge chair beneath it. He used magic to reinforce the kitchen stove, so I won't accidentally smash it with one chop. Even the medicinal herbs that Xiaowu planted back then, have been carefully transplanted here. It feels like the old days are back. Yet it's completely different. The current Lu Xingzhou, or rather, Zhou Yuan, will no longer age, will no longer get sick. When I wake up in the morning, I no longer have to anxiously count the white hairs on his head. Instead, I can shamelessly lie on his chest, and play with his eternally black hair. Zhou Yuan, I want to eat sweet and sour fish. I'm lazing in bed, refusing to get up. Alright, the deity, who was watering the medicinal herbs in the yard, put down the watering can, rolled up his sleeves and headed to the kitchen. But this time, madam, you only need to focus on eating. Please don't come into the kitchen to help anymore. Got it. In our spare time, we also descend to the mortal world to stroll around. The old clinic is still there. It has been passed down for several generations. We conceal our forms, and stand at the street corner, watching the new Dr. Lu sit in the hall diagnosing patients, looking at the portrait hanging in the clinic. That's how Lu Xingzhou looked when he was young. They all say that Dr. Lu, the divine healer, became an immortal. I bite into a candied hawthorn, muttering indistinctly. Zhou Yuan held my hand, our fingers intertwined. We strolled through the bustling crowd. They were right. Divine physician Lu truly ascended to immortality. He even married a celestial fox as his wife, living the life of immortal lovers. I tilted my head to look at him. Sunlight bathed his profile, so beautiful it seemed unreal. I used to fear time passed too quickly, that I couldn't even grasp the hem of his robe. Now time has become long and endless, and I am right by his side, day after day, night after night, until the end of time. Husband. Let's go home. Alright, home. Extra chapter. Lord Qingfeng found it very strange that Zhou Yuan, the divine venerable one, who is as ancient as heaven and earth, recently started looking for a successor, a deity of his caliber. There aren't many left between heaven and earth. How could a successor be easily found? The heavenly duties of a divine venerable one are not something an ordinary person can shoulder. Qingfeng thought it was just a whim, never expected him to diligently search for centuries. And he actually found one. Why would you give up your position as divine venerable one? Lord Qingfeng asked. Don't want to do it anymore. Lord Qingfeng rubbed his ears. He must have misheard. A deity who has lived a life without desires, calm and detached, has developed emotions. Why? Bored. Then what do you plan to do after abdicating? Ascend. Lord Qingfeng sprayed out his mouthful of tea, thinking he had misheard again. Why? I guess, you've got a death wish. Zhou Yuan wasn't joking. He was seriously preparing to ascend to immortality. He was truly about to leave, although, having lived to his age, and cultivated to his level, it'd be strange if he still couldn't see past life and death. But Lord Qingfeng just couldn't understand. Nothing had happened that warranted him ascending, until Lord Qingfeng met the Star Lord of Fate. When the two of them compared timelines, they finally figured it out. A fated bond cannot be broken. Zhou Yuan was trying to escape a romantic destiny. Lord Qingfeng clapped his hands in amusement. Are women really that terrifying? Scaring Zhou Yuan into choosing ascension, isn't it a blessing to have someone to share the dance with? In an endless life, perhaps Lord Qingfeng was too young, his cultivation insufficient. He and Zhou Yuan had only known each other 1,000 years. They'd been friends across the ages until now, but he wasn't yet at the stage to calmly watch him ascend. Lord Qingfeng couldn't bear to part with him, the Star Lord of Fate even more so. So the two of them hit it off. Behind Zhou Yuan's back, they planned something big. It's just a romantic trial, right? Aren't there plenty of immortals who descend to experience it? A trip down and back takes a mere century. It's over in a blink. Relying on Zhou Yuan's trust in Lord Qingfeng, and an ancient artifact borrowed by the Star Lord of Fate, The two finally beat Zhou Yuan to the punch before his ascension. With a spell, they sent his primordial spirit to the mortal world. The mortal world is vast. Whether Zhou Yuan ended up in the same era as the girl was left to fate. Whether they would meet was left to fate. Whether they could actually forge a romance was even more up to fate. Years later, when Zhou Yuan's body regained consciousness, Lord Qingfeng knew his mortal self had passed. All these years, Lord Qingfeng had prepared for Zhou Yuan's scolding and punishment. But when Zhou Yuan opened his eyes, he didn't even glance at Lord Qingfeng before wanting to descend. Descend for what? Isn't the trial over? Aren't you both free from destiny's bind now? To fetch my wife. What?